I don't understand how more people don't make the link between Skynet and Starlink. Like Sky, Star, Net, Link. Like Starlink. Like to me, Starlink is literally Skynet under a different name.
You're right. It's close. But China has one that's actually called Skynet, and they have a T-800 now.
Yeah, that's not diabolical at all.
So that's worse in my mind. Where are they building the Matrix? Is the Matrix being built in Geneva, Switzerland at CERN? Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to JT's Mixtape. This is episode number 85. And if you guys are enjoying these podcasts, please give me a 5-star review on either Apple or Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
Come closer, my child.
Well, family, once again, we're back. I'm your host, JT, and I'm blessed to have the whole crew here together today. Once again, Demon Racers is back. What's going on, Brian?
Glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
And we also have Aaron Tonight Heart. What's going on, Aaron?
What's up, everybody?
So I guess I'm the only one out of this crew who saw Disclosure Day this past weekend. And I told them they don't even have to bother. It was a pretty crappy movie. Unfortunately, I mean, I guess maybe fortunately, it was not good propaganda. I don't think that it was probably well received. But I thought the most interesting thing about the whole movie experience that I had was when I went to my local movie theater that I don't normally go to. I went with a friend from high school, and we decided to go to one that was closer to his house. And when I walked into the movie theater, I was straight up blown away at what I saw. And I posted this over on my my Instagram. So if you guys follow me over on Instagram, I did show the peeps here that I saw this as I walked in.
It's those damn angels. Literally, the damn angels from the Hoover Dam.
Like, what in the absolute heck, bro? Like, what
is that for sure?
Like, why is that there?
That is weird. Like, they had to make that. They had to have someone make that for them, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if they got Oscar J. Hansen or somebody who's related to him to make them the authentic damn angels.
Why? Such a good question. And
so I was kind of like pressed for time because I was going to ask the guy at the taking the tickets at the counter, but I didn't have time. So later I walked out after the movie was over and I asked this older guy who worked at the theater, and I said, "What's up with the angels? Like, that's pretty weird." It's like, is that from like a new movie that's coming out? Is this like an advertisement for something that's going to be in theaters that's already in theaters? And you know what this guy told me?
They've always been there.
Well, he told me that, for one, I said, well, it's weird, as these are from the Hoover Dam. And he's like, oh, no, they're different. And I said, no, they're the same. Have you been there? I said, those are pretty identical. And he's like, oh, they're slightly different. And I was like,
oh, wait, he knows?
Well, he ended up saying that they came from an older movie, and he said it was the 1989 Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
And I was like this is, I called Aaron after the movie was over because I kind of was telling him some of the stuff I said. Maybe I'll do a further breakdown maybe later on to talk about it. Maybe I might do a live stream soon to talk about it. But the interesting part about it was that when he said 1989 Batman, it's like, do you know who you're talking to? Like, this was like a movie back before we had the streaming services. And this is something that, you know, of my generation, this was like the comic book movie, like the one that changed all the comic book movies. Because you had like the Superman movie, like what was it, 1978 or something like that? The original Superman movie. Pretty solid movie. Really good. Superman 2 was decent, was Zod and all that stuff. It was kind of a cool. Superman 3 and Superman 4 sucked. And they got really stupid. And so it was kind of almost like they kind of like took some time off of making comic book movies again. until they had Tim Burton did the 1989 Batman movie, and it was, I guess this is probably where you get like the modern superhero movie where it's still comic booky, but it's more steeped in realism than some of the other ones are. And I said, I've seen that movie, like, we wore the tape out at my house. And so I started to watch it again, and I didn't see those angels in there. I knew it. I was thinking, like, me of all people, I'm the guy who does remember the stuff. Oh, dang, that was in that one movie. It was, as far as I could tell, it was not in that movie unless I missed it.
Dude, I remember there being some weird looking architecture that looked like that in one of the
Yeah,
those
there was.
Batman
There was
movies.
similar stuff because, the way Gotham's presented, it does have this kind of Art Deco style. It's
Yeah.
got kind of like an old world, but like futuristic vibe.
Yeah.
Because the buildings kind of look like that old world with stone and Gothic statues and weird stuff there. But it's Gotham, so it's presented more like it's like retro. It's like it's a newer version of it. It's like it's a futuristic looking city.
Maybe you got the movie wrong. Maybe it was a different Batman movie. You got to watch them. JT,
got
watch
the
the other
movie wrong.
ones. Watch the other Batman movies and
He
tell
got
us.
it all wrong. That's
pretty weird.
Well, yeah, because you can tell by the way they're made, that was not cheap. That was not some like willy-nilly, like accidentally they received it. Oh, we'll just go ahead and set it up here. Why do they have it? In fact, I would be interested if you dug into that to get the story behind that. I bet there's a very interesting story there. And
yeah, one
and why
ends
is
at
it-
the end of a rope.
and why is
Probably.
it christening? Well, we're not going to speak that over him, but
No, not over him.
and why is it christening the snack section? Like, why do you have to walk through it to get to concessions?
Yeah, to get to the bar.
Dude, that's a part of the building. That's not a set piece. That's like literally looks like, oh, it is a set piece. Never mind.
No, but you're right, Brian. Those pillars. If you look down, go back down. See the brick, that structure or whatever that brown
Wait,
stuff
it is part of the building.
It's also on the right.
It's not. I mean, again, it's kind of like, is it permanent? I mean, it's as permanent as
yeah,
this
look,
other.
is that thing
thing
right there to
over
the
here.
side?
They're sitting on those things.
Yeah,
at the
there's a
very
so they
counter right
just-
here
wait,
that's got
zoom
the
in.
same. the
Zoom in
same,
on the angels and see how well they're faceted to that thing. Let's zoom in on those guys. Are they like just set? Did you just find something to set there?
I
well,
mean,
they
look
might have been
perfectly
custom made to
made.
fit
Mm-mm.
perfectly on there because obviously they're pretty flush right on there.
So the
Okay,
question is,
I got a
why?
guess. I have a guess. The owner of that place is a Freemason, and those are the two. Those are the two pillars of Boaz. Those are the Boaz and the other. What's his other name?
Yeah,
the two
Jocelyn and
pillars?
Boaz.
Doesn't and Boaz. Okay, those are the two pillars, and he just was like, "Oh, I'll just." And then they know some other connection that he knows about the damn angels, so he paid someone to make those two angels, mimicking the damn angels, so that way he can, because he has some connection. So I'm guessing the owner of that movie theater is tied into the occult. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like a portal. Like it's obviously like meant to be. It's meant to represent some kind of gateway for energetic purposes. Because why else would he put it in a place where everyone's walking through?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's
I don't get snacks.
that's the very least. And I remember in my original video, I kind of did talk about how the star map has this kind of weird kind of light going from this eagle and this other light going backwards, and it resembles a compass in a square, which makes sense because you kind of have like if you have these two angels, they represent two pillars, and then there's a gateway between them. Yeah, and this represents some kind of a portal to enlightenment potentially.
Maybe they're harvesting the killing of you when you eat their snacks.
Right.
Did you hear about the popcorn and the butter on the popcorn? Like, it's so toxic, it like killed a bunch of people. It was like giving all the people in the butter popcorn factory like cancer or something.
Well, for what was from years ago that they started to ban what the like the good butter, the good popcorn butter at the movie theaters. But it was funny. This was like a cinema cafe, so they have like you get food and drinks, and it's like a place where they full service like feed
Like
you.
a restaurant.
Yeah, and so we got my daughter wanted popcorn, and they asked, "Do you want real butter?" And I said, "Yes." So they actually did have real butter, so it wasn't the synthetic crap. So,
Interesting.
but all that being said, yeah, and Aaron and I talked about, it's funny because we talked about the Hoover Dam last week about how these angels were first there, but Oscar Jane Hansen, I want to say he was into the secret societies. He was a sculptor. He created other statues that were sort of similar to them, but obviously this was like his opus work was the Hoover Dam. And when I started to look into that, I did notice the connections when I do because I do remember the stuff in the movies that there was that Doctor Strange movie, The Multiverse of Madness, and there's a scene where they go into what in the multiverse they go into like the Illuminati headquarters, and they have this battle, and then there's statues that almost look identical to them. They're a little different, but I think they still have the arms raised, but I think they're kind of like in a kneeling position. But it's still the same thing. And then Aaron, I want to say was a couple years ago, he shared with me a in the new Flash movie, one of the beginning scenes of the movie, there's some kind of event at this hospital, and like the earth is kind of caving into itself. There's like an earthquake or there's something happening. And yeah, they the way the Flash runs and everything's kind of going in slow motion. He's like running past, and you see these angels like collapsing into like this chasm created by this earthquake. But I want to say that those things look identical to the Hoover Dam angels.
And they're massive, and they were on either side of the entrance to the hospital. So like they both kind of have to do with health. The hospital
Or they have
entrance
something to do with like sacrifice. Because it's at
Well,
the
we're
Illuminati
saying the same
headquarters.
thing.
So this is the scene where Scarlet Witch comes in there and like kills all these people. And then in that scene, you have, in the Flash, obviously, well, the Flash is saving people, but I mean, it's like some kind of disastrous moment in front of this hospital. And of course, going back to the original Hoover Dam video I made, behind those angels, there's this placard that says something about, they die to make the desert bloom. And of course, we've all naturally made the connections like that's talking about a sacrifice of people. So there's something about these angels that is quite nefarious. So yeah, you see those things and they look eerie, they look kind of spooky looking. It's just so weird. And it's like I said, it makes no sense. If not what we're saying is true, that yeah, this guy who owns the movie theater, he likes occultic looking, motif.
But how creepy to set that up. Let's just say, if that is the reason to set that up, knowing that it's meant as an ode, like a sacrificial ode to these demons, knowing that like people are going to be forced to walk through this stuff to buy all these unhealthy snacks and unhealthy treats. Like that is it's not an accident. Money was spent on that. There was a vision.
Lot, yeah.
There was a vision, and it was like, this is what we're gonna do. All the unwitting goy are gonna walk through here and have no idea that we're christening them for darkness. Like, dude, diabolical.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just one of those situations where, like, I'm the weird one, right? Because my daughter's like, "Did you just ask that guy about those statues?" I say, "Heck yeah, I asked about them." I said, "It's weird.
Really?
I just want to know." But like, you think about all the people that walk by and just kind of like, that's
Just accept it.
Well, it's kind of like when I made the Hoover Dam video.
Did you get a feeling when you walked in? Did it give you like a feeling when you saw him?
No, the feeling was like, what the heck was my feeling? I was just like that. I was more like in shock. Like, what are you guys doing here? It's just like a double take. Like, just like wiping my eyes. Like, is this real life? Am I actually seeing this? But the whole, basically the whole gist of my video is, hey, look at those angels. Did you guys know these things were here? Aren't they weird? Do you guys want to know why they're here? So like that's kind of like that's kind of the vibe I always give off on most of my videos. Did you guys notice this? Is this strange to anyone else? But then you have countless just people just going in just to go see movies, and they kind of do just look up and they're like, and then they just again they go right to the snack bar. They start shoveling popcorn down their mouths and watch whatever trash movie that the movie industry is providing today. But it's the exact same situation where when you go to the Hoover Dam, it's like people don't even stop to ask, like, what is the purpose of this? Like, why is this here? And yeah, more people just need to be more curious. And I think that's the whole point of like almost all the stuff that we do when we talk about exposing darkness. It's like critical thinking. It's like questioning things. Like people just accept things the way they are, but they don't actually consider, like, what does this mean? And then you have normies in the comment section say, "Oh, they're Art Deco, bro." Like that's any kind of an answer. You can put a name on it, but that doesn't explain what it's there and what the purpose is. And then so normies would say, "Oh, it's just art. It looks cool." It's more than just looking cool. Like it has a purpose. It gives you a vibe. It's there for a reason.
So it does give you a vibe. I would say, CJT, I told you all movies are evil. That would be my answer.
Okay, before we get into some videos, I want to talk a little bit about the potential AI apocalypse, the surveillance system, the surveillance grid that's going in, kind of all the things we've kind of touched on. Well, we've talked about it a lot, but I shared a meme that I saw on Facebook with you guys, and this is kind of this will get us where we're going. I think everybody will understand what this is about. So this meme right here. So we have, again, movies, right? So we got The Matrix, The Terminator, Idiocracy, and so we're here. So like this,
Yes,
this
exactly.
thing is like we're right in the middle of some place here. And it was just perfect because that's what a lot of people were talking about. So they had the 250th anniversary of America and this White House thing with the USC fight. And they had like the Nitro Circus. And it does feel like, yeah, like I don't think I'm getting smarter. I think most people are getting dumber. So now I don't seem as dumb as I used to. Because I'm literally like what's his name in the movie where you're watching all these guys try to smash in, like, was it Luke Wilson trying to slash in these like, square pegs and round holes doing IQ tests. And it's like all of a sudden, like I seem like a super genius because I'm like, is this dumb to anyone else? This is crazy.
That's so unfortunate, but that is the reality of our situation. When you sent me the meme, I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." It's literally what's going on right now.
No, it is. That is the perfect. It's sad, but that is the perfect meme for where we're at. And I don't know if enough people understand. It's really chilling and dark, actually, the reality of where things are heading with technology. But I don't know if enough people understand that, like, the AI tech stuff, like it is the end. Like it is the end of humanity. Like that is gonna be
Or that's
what
the goal. That's the goal of the people, the technocrats,
well, and that's the enemy's goal.
is to make people obsolete because they need machines or they need serfs to be able to do the things that they're unwilling to do.
Yeah. I mean, the way that it can enslave everybody, the way it's already manipulating everybody, the way that it can blackmail everybody, the way that it can, I mean, dude, it will, their plan is for it to just absolutely run circles around everybody. I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, but there was a show, a lot of these shows I know about because my dad was just all about watching like every sci-fi show that ever came out, and then like talking to me about it and seeing if, trying to get me to watch it with him. But there was this show called Travelers, and these people were travelers from the future, but they would beam into bodies as they were about to die. So like at the moment that a person was about to die, instead of them dying, they would be overtaken by a traveler from the future. And they would be like so basically like possessed by some kind of like future version of themselves. And they worked based on like the technology. And so everything they did was based on cameras and technology and all of that stuff. But the cameras and the technology was implemented before society knew about it. Like it had control over society before society was actually aware it had control over them. And it operated through the cameras, it operated through everything electronic, all of that. And if it wanted people dead, it would like basically send people to kill them based on where it knew they were located based on the camera systems and all of that. But there was like a judge, jury, executioner system set up over society before society even knew that it was set up. But they didn't understand it because everything that was being carried out by humans. But they didn't realize that these humans were being given their orders by technology.
Yeah, that in no way sounds related to what we're dealing with today. Sarcasm.
What do you mean? Oh, I'm like,
Yeah,
what
sarcasm.
do you mean?
Okay, I want to get to some videos. So this is the first one. So I just showed you that image. So one of the first images was the Terminator movie. Check this video out.
China unveiled its latest full-size humanoid robot, the T-800. Yes, indeed, that is the same model number of the Terminator. And just recently, the T-800 was spotted patrolling the streets of Shenzhen with SWAT officers. Sometimes I can't even believe what I'm saying.
Dude, are they prophetic? When they made the Terminator, was it prophetic?
What's going on, y'all? This podcast is brought to you by Modern Roots Life. Modern Roots Life is a Christian-owned and operated company, and it's bringing real health back to its roots. They offer powerful, all-natural health supplements such as beef liver, cod liver oil, beef tallow, magnesium, and mineral-rich salts, all sourced the way God intended. Clean, simple, and from the earth. So whether you're looking to boost your energy, restore mineral balance, or just fuel your family with real nourishment, Modern Roots Life has got you covered. Guys, in this community, we're trying to get healthy in our mind, in our body, and our spirit. So don't neglect your health. If you want more information, check out modernrootslife.com and check the link in my description. You know, people often ask me how they can support me. Well, I think it's pretty cool if you can support me by supporting the people who support me, and you get something in return. And being healthy is a pretty good return.
Do you know that China's actual network, their overarching network, is actually called Skynet? Did you know that?
What?
Yep. Look at that, bro. China named their overarching program Skynet.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're prophetic or if they're just going with it because they think it's funny, like, or what. But China, just say China Skynet. This is what I heard. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure it's what it is.
Okay, here's the AI summary. We'll use the demons to ask about it.
Let's ask the AI demons.
It says Skynet in China refers to both a global anti-corruption fugitive reparation operation, a massive domestic surveillance network, integrated AI and facial recognition.
Yep.
Operation Skynet fugitives. Yeah. Repatriation. Is that how you say it? Repatriation.
Yeah. Try to get
What
you
the
to...
heck, bro? So they've got Skynet and they're building T-800s. So if you guys have watched the Terminator series, so in the original Terminator movie, you know, it's Arnold, right? They send a robot back to the past to kill John Connor, or actually to kill Linda Hamilton, who is Sarah Connor. That's before John Connor is even born. So Arnold is the T-800. Right, so then you get into like Terminator 2. So then the liquid Terminator is like the T-1000. So like why? Why of all names would you name it the T-800?
Bro, maybe China's not watching the Terminator, or maybe, and it's prophetic. That's my guess. Maybe the people watching the movies were like,
I'm pretty sure they're
visions.
aware of the Terminator movies.
I don't know, man. It's crazy. Why
I
would
don't
they do that?
understand how more people don't make the link between Skynet and Starlink. I don't get that. Like
Skynet, Starlink.
Net
Oh yeah.
link. Like Starlink. Like to me, Starlink
right.
is literally Skynet
Yeah, you're
under
right.
a different name.
No, you're totally right.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's close, but China has one that's actually called Skynet, and they have a T-800 now.
Yeah, that's not diabolical at all.
so that's worse in my mind. It's
They're like
actually
telling you
worse.
they're gonna
'cause
kill you.
Literally naming it. Where are they building the Matrix? Is the Matrix
Yeah.
being built in Geneva, Switzerland, at
Well,
CERN?
No,
Did
we're
you
living in
see-
it.
Did you see also a year or two ago, Elon Musk announced that like he was going to be rolling out some of the same tech and machines from iRobot. And he's even calling them the same thing. But like the people movers, the cabs or whatever, like to take people from one place to another, they look exactly like the machines that drive people around from iRobot. Exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly. And he used them. They're like those machines. They almost look like little triangles, like the long ways, and people are inside of them. And while they're moving, they're like darkened, like you can't see into them. And then they show up, and then like they I don't know, dude. You just have to watch it. But he had an event a couple of years ago where people were brought to the event using these machines. So like he already has them. So they do this stuff tongue in cheek. They act like they act like it's a joke, and they smile, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what are the odds? What's the coincidence?" And it's like there is no coincidence. They told you what they were gonna do, and now they're doing it. And we just think it's silly and fun. It's
I don't
not.
know. I don't think it's silly or fun. I think it's creepy.
I wonder if this is the T800 thing's even real. I'm trying to look it up to see if it's even real. I wonder if it's like somebody made it as an
What do
AI
you even
thing.
ask to see if it's real? Because if you
I'm just
ask
trying to buy one. I'm
ChatGPT,
just
it's
trying
just
to
going
buy
to
one.
gaslight you.
I'm just looking to see if they have got a website to even buy it. There's nothing to buy it.
This
they
meme is
may have
totally
made a-
fitting here right now. John Connor watching you make friends with artificial intelligence.
Did you hear that the creator of Terminator, this woman, she said that The Matrix was the sequel.
That woman
No,
is full of it.
You talking? Yeah, that woman's the liar.
The woman that claimed the black lady who claimed she came
Yeah.
up with the Matrix and the Terminator franchise.
Is she not the writer, the original
No.
writer?
So there is a real writer.
I want to say she did try to sue them, but she didn't get any money. I think they tried to say that she was getting hundreds of millions of dollars. She didn't.
No,
Actually, I want to say that, Brian, didn't you send me something where there was a guy who actually really probably came up with the Matrix movies, not the Terminator, but the Matrix, and he didn't want to sell, or he didn't want to play ball, and people died in his family and stuff like that.
and they just stole it.
Yeah.
And so that woman, it was a plant by the AI, by the people, to cover up his story, because he actually wrote The Matrix. I forget his name right now, but he actually wrote the movie The Matrix and the movie Oblivion and there's a third one he wrote. So, and they were all a part of the same movie. And they basically, and he was a part of an occult trafficking ring. He said too, he was a part of a human trafficking ring when he was a kid. And they basically took his script. He wrote the script as a way to disassociate from like all the celebrities and people. He talks about them. He knows them, and he was like, "Dude, do you think that the celebrities are good people?" He's like, the rings and stuff that I ran in, I know their secrets. And he's just like, he straight up says it all. And like, they killed his son. They killed and they like tried to kill his wife. And like, bro, his story's not a joke. And like in the movie, his birthday is the birthday of Neo in the Matrix, and you see it on his driver's license, I guess, or something.
Or would have been his passport.
Yeah, his passport. Yeah. And so because he wrote all of the stuff, he's like, this is my book. And he's like, I can show you my name and my stuff throughout the whole thing is tethered to me. He goes, this is my book. And he's like, this is my story. And he wrote the whole thing. And then what happened is they basically stole his script and then kicked him to the curb because he didn't want to be a part of the occult ritual stuff because he was done being abused or whatever. And then they just basically tried to like wipe him off the face of the planet Earth and his family and destroy everything about him. And then they put that woman that you're talking about out there to mock him and make fun of him. And she's like, I'm the original writer of the Matrix. And she's like a crazy woman that they've brainwashed to go out there so that people don't find his story, because they don't want you to find it, because his story is not It's not like, oh, I'm a happy-go-lucky. He talks about like human trafficking stuff. It's freaking gnarly, dude.
Yeah, it's
His
dark.
story is nuts.
I remember you sent me the podcast that he was on. I watched him. Yeah, there was some dark stuff. But let's
and
keep
he's
it
not
moving.
he's not a good speaker either. So he's not like somebody that's like, oh, like people are good at talking. He's actually pretty scatterbrained, and you can tell
just
he's
say
been
this, is
traumatized.
I still think a healthy dose of skepticism when somebody makes claims like this.
But he took him to court too.
He sounded believable. He actually did sound believable. So check this
He
out.
has all the court records and everything. You can look it up. I forget his name, but he's interesting. Someone put it in the
let's
comments
keep it moving. I want to play some more videos about car videos about the tech that's going into the cars.
On another episode of You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy, car companies have slowly been testing this idea for a while now, but we are starting to see it happen out in the open. Toyota has already rolled out vehicles where certain features are tied to a monthly subscription. Imagine buying a vehicle and then still having to pay for parts of it. Heated seats, subscription. Certain remote features, subscriptions. Even access to some of the service information, subscription.
Here's the 5 subscriptions that the 2025 Toyota Camry has, because y'all want to know, and when I bought it exactly 1 year ago, I was shook too, and my free trials just expired. So number 1 is the Drive Connect, which, as you can see, now says subscribe. Every time I turn my car on, no matter what, it says subscribe now. So this is an AI service I can pay for. This is also if you want to use the built-in navigation. So unless you don't pay and you don't use CarPlay, you can't use anything. Also behind a paywall is the audio feature. Also, if you don't have CarPlay, you'll no longer be able to listen to music here.
Not to mention, many automakers are fully testing full month-to-month programs where a single monthly fee covers vehicle insurance, maintenance, roadside assistance. Oh, and they're also going to have mileage limits for how much that you can drive. That will cost anywhere from $600 to $850. But don't forget that you are going to be living on a universal basic income. That is where it starts to get weird for me. Why are people not questioning where this is going? Most of these vehicles are basically computers on wheels at this point. They are connected to anything and can be updated remotely, and in some cases being controlled from outside the vehicle. So yes, that option opens the door for a future where access to parts of your own vehicle could depend on whether the subscription is active. $8 a month to use your heated seats? Nobody's actually going to own anything this way. And then I start thinking about the electric vehicle push and the pressure that we're seeing on the oil right now with this war, and it makes me wonder, is this another way to slowly price people out of their vehicles that they already have, so then the only option is to buy an electric one? Because when you stand back and you look at it, it's becoming pretty obvious that the future model for a lot of things is not ownership at all. It is renting. And transportation might be one of the biggest examples of that.
They're going to make the cars so cheap to buy, but be subscription based. They're going to like lower the price and make them all subscription. So ignorant people will buy them thinking, oh, this is fine. This is fine. Not realizing you're trapping yourself and you don't own nothing and you will be happy. Dude, that is so insane.
Or they're going to be very expensive. They're going to still be very, very, very expensive, because I do think that that's, when you kind of think about like what we're seeing about like kind of the American dream.
If I own them though, how are you going to stop it?
It's the great house, it's the white picket fence, it's the 2.5 kids. But what it's also is, you think about like kind of like the American mythos is like getting in your Camaro with the top down and you're just gunning it down some open road, and you can go anywhere you want to. And with this new mindset, it's like, no, you can't actually go, because they're going to try to limit how much you drive. It's kind of like when you get a lease car, they penalize you big time when you go over the mileage. What if that's kind of like the model they're going for with like regular vehicles? Because again, like with scarcity, they could say, oh, well, some of these places you can't charge your car, but so much, these electric cars have limited ranges, probably because they want you to have a limited range, not because they couldn't make an electric car that could have a massive range, because they don't really want you to be able to move. They want you to be in like these 15-minute cities, and they want you to stay there because they want to control you. But yeah, that's absolutely true. It's like that. You think about like when everyone ditched cable, and then now we all have all these streaming services. And I've never actually done this because it'd probably make me sick. But if you ever added up all the streaming services you have together now, how much more it probably costs than like the cable that was antiquated, right?
Dude, I don't know, man. That car thing, that makes, who's going to stop you from hacking? Side note, if I have to buy a car like that, I am hacking it. it will be hacked. I will hack it, and I will find a way to make all of my features free. But who's going to stop people like me that are going to hack the crap out of their car? That's the thing. That's why they got to go to select.
Well, you know,
be
the
like,
one reason
oh,
you
it's cheap, and you don't actually own the car. You're just renting it, and you got this. That's what they're going
well,
to do.
here's the reason you might not want to hack it, because I guarantee you, if you mess with certain parts of it, you'll totally void the warranty.
Who cares about
for
a
this-
warranty?
Yeah, but you're talking about some of these cars that cost, let's just say, like almost your entry level model of some of these Tesla are like 70 grand. You're going to
You can buy 'em
hack the
for-
warranty, and then if anything goes wrong with this car, which will have problems,
because it's electronic.
you're gonna be paying through the nose.
Well, there's a solution to all of that. I mean, there'll be black market places to take these things to get them fixed.
Yeah.
There will be people that want to
Hack
support.
centers.
Yeah, but so what they're going to have to do, the
You have
only
to like
way they're gonna-
jailbreak your car.
yeah,
Oh, that's a new
only-
business.
Like it's an iPhone.
Jailbreak car shops. That's
But
what
the
it'll be.
only way they're going to be able to get around it is they're going to have to make it like a federal crime. They're going to have to impose like federal penalties for tampering with these things. They'll find a way to penalize people beyond, like, to scare them enough to where they won't want to mess with these vehicles. That's what they'll do. They'll find a way to tie it into some kind of law. That's the only thing that's going to keep people from wanting to be involved in anything like that. That's the only option that they've got.
Well, and here's the other option that we've discussed before. We talked about the Cash for Clunkers program, about getting
Oh, yeah.
cars that don't have the computers in them, just actual mechanical vehicles. And I saw a very disturbing video about how this is becoming even more difficult to do because of, let's just say, accidents. Check this out.
Hey, you want to know something I bet you didn't know? This is the 12th junkyard in 6 weeks to mysteriously burn everything in it. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were about to take off all of the older vehicles that are on the roads and you didn't want anybody to find parts, how would you do that? If you were about to say, you know what, we don't want all these older vehicles on our roads anymore. We're going to put new mandates. We're going to make you buy cars with sensors. We're going to do all this stuff. But how do we stop people from continuing to keep their old cars? Maybe burn all the junkyards? No, that couldn't be it, right? Like, that's just too smart of thinking, right? That's conspiracy thinking, right? This is just an accident, right? No coincidences, right? Stay safe, America.
Yeah, because how does a metal junkyard catch on fire accidentally? It's like, it's not like a brush fire or a forest fire. It's a metal heap fire.
Yeah, you don't think that it would spread easily. Like I mean, I imagine it's probably not uncommon that things could catch fire in a junkyard, but yeah, to burn it to the ground, to raise it to the ground where like nothing's left over. That seems like a that seems weird.
The owner of the junkyard would have to have been paid something almost. It seems like he would have been like told by somebody underhandedly, like, hey, burn your junkyard down. Here's $1 million and you can leave the business and just live off this money. There would have to be something like paid, like maybe like even $5 million.
Or, hey, we're going to hire somebody that's untraceable to come in and burn all of this so you can claim insurance, so you can get a legitimate insurance claim on this thing. Don't worry, you're going to come out okay. Just don't tip anybody off. Like, yeah, there's no way. I mean, look at it. It's perfectly just that junkyard that's burnt.
It would burn one car. It wouldn't just keep going to other cars.
No, something had to have been spread over all of the cars, that whole place. There would have had to be some kind of igniter or some kind of accelerant. It's just insane.
Yeah, so now you can't get the parts for these mechanical cars that would have been really easy and really cheap. Again, if you're a handy person, you can turn a wrench and you could just get the parts from the local junkyard, which again, you're getting any kind of pieces that is salvageable off some of these old cars. It'd be really cheap. So now you can still probably get the parts, but now you're going to pay a lot for them. So then eventually people say, it's too much. I might as well just get one of these new cars.
Mm-hmm.
These people are not stupid. These people are diabolical. This does seem to be coordinated.
That's why we all need paramotors. We all need paramotors.
Oh, I'm down.
Yeah,
Let's fly, bro.
that's the solution. Sorry, I cut you off mid question posing, JT.
No, it's fine. Actually, I've got another video that follow up on the subscriptions. So it's not just cars. It's everything.
It's great that everything's a subscription now. Everything's just a rental. It's fantastic. I love that. Didn't have to do a whole lot to convince everybody to be okay with it. They just went, instead of charging you one time for Photoshop, we're going to charge you 3/4 of the price of Photoshop every month for the rest of your life until you die. And we all went, that sounds great. Thank you so much. Printers on subscription services now, because printing was already so easy, may as well get an app involved. You get 15 pages of printing free until you hit a paywall, and now you gotta pay a monthly fee to use a physical object already in your house on paper that you already purchased. There are some garage door openers that are on subscription services now. Now you have to rent the ability to open a door in a house that you own, or more likely in a house that you rent. You are renting the ability to open doors in the house that you rent. Even better. Did you guys know that medical software is on a subscription too? The software that doctors need to use the machines to do neurosurgery? Sometimes doctors will go into neurosurgery and go, oh, our subscription needs to be renewed. We need to get our account manager on the phone before we can do neurosurgery. The last person I want involved in my neurosurgery is a member of the sales team, okay? We have to get a guy named Matt on a Teams call before you guys can operate? Oh, it's going downhill. The fact that everything's on subscription now makes me really confused when people are optimistic about brain chips. They're gonna advertise it by being like, now you can see the world how dogs see the world. But little do you know that now dog vision is the lowest tier subscription that you can have. And if you want to see like a human again, that's another $18.99 a month. After you took the bait and fell for dog vision, they're gonna put taste and smell on dynamic pricing. You don't think these people are gonna go so far as to make us rent our own bodies? We basically already are.
Isn't there like a Black Mirror episode where, I'm pretty sure there is, where there's a woman who can't see or can't hear or something like that, and the husband gets like some sort of implant for her so that she can see or hear? I might be getting some of it wrong.
Well,
And
isn't
then-
that similar to like the what is it, what do they call it, the cochlear, was it cochlear implant or something like that? You know, like I remember like Rush Limbaugh used to have it back in the day because he went deaf, probably from doing all that Oxycontin. And then you put like this thing in your ear and it helps people that are, it's like if you could hear before and you went deaf, you could kind of hear. Is it based on like vibrations or something?
Yeah, I don't really know, and I might be getting things mixed because I don't remember. Maybe I saw only clips of these. I didn't see the full episodes, but there was something like that. And then like they go out of the subscription zone. There's like certain subscription zones. They go out of the subscription zone and she loses like consciousness. She can't even like stay awake when they leave the subscription zone. So they can't even go to the places they want to go because the subscription he's paying for her to be able to like stay alive and hear and see and all of that and function. She's got some kind of terminal illness or something. I don't remember all the details, but there's like a subscription zone. And so they're not paying for it. And I know there's another one, if not the same one, where these people see ads and hear ads in their daily life, like in their actual vision, because they're paying for
What
the
is
lowest
that like
tier.
in the in that Ready Player One, that the one bad guy in the movie, he was talking about once they took over the Oasis, they were going to monetize every bit of it. And so like you have like, you know, you put on one of these masks, kind of like one of these meta helmets or things, and it said that they could put subscription ads up to 80% of the person's viewing before it created epilepsy. Right? It was like,
Insane.
I mean, it was obviously meant as like a joke in that, but yeah, like that's obviously something that is real. Like I think, I mean, that's it. It goes right in line with anything that they can monetize. They absolutely will monetize. I mean, even like I want to see some of these WEF people are talking about like how air and clean water is not a human right. What? Says
They
who?
will push people as far as people will let them. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude,
You know
people
what's
need
funny?
to
I
start
brought this up
burning
before.
some car factories down or something then, rather than the junkyards. That's what needs to happen. Shoot.
You know, I brought this up before, and I need to find a video for this because I know that I'm not the first person to say. I want I was actually listening. I had a road trip the other day, and I was listening to Owen Benjamin on Tucker Carlson, and he brought this up, and I brought this up on this podcast before about how, we're told about prohibition, and the way we're told about the story of prohibition, it's always about like kind of like these church ladies. I forgot what the ladies group that was trying to get people to stop drinking, and it had all something to do with like that alcohol was some kind of plague on society, and it was causing good men to be bad and stuff like that. And there's truth to that, but the idea that our government in like the early 1900s would make alcohol illegal, it seems unbelievable. Like, again, you're talking about like the land of the free. Regardless if you think it's a vice and you don't think that people should take part in it, it's crazy that the government made it illegal. So we talked about it before about how when you had like the early origins of like stock cars, like what begot NASCAR, was that these guys were running moonshine. And so there's like a song from like, one of these famous country artists talking about, I've got moonshine in my trunk. So like, this is like they souped up their cars to run from the cops, supposedly, because they were making alcohol in their own distilleries. But what's crazy is you find out like some of these old diesel engines would run on almost anything, and they would absolutely run on that alcohol.
Exactly.
So is that really, and that's what Owen Benjamin was saying, and that's what I've said before, is it makes more sense to me that they would make it illegal to make your own alcohol because you wouldn't need to go to the gas pump. That's why wars are fought all the time about petroleum. So doesn't it make sense? Like this, so this is like the early origins of like them trying to phase this part of out, about like you being able to, again, it's about free movement. It's about freedom. It's not about alcohol. Alcohol is another thing. There was a guy who's on TikTok. He was pretty big account where this guy was making plastiline.
But yeah.
So of course, plastic is made from petroleum. So somehow he was kind of reversing it.
He was just microwaving it.
And so he was turning the plastic that was once petroleum back into some kind of a thing that you could operate your vehicle with.
Yeah, and so he's the only thing that people don't understand about his plastiline is that the amount of power that it takes to run all the microwaves to melt all the plastic back into its oil-based state form is more power than it produces from the plastic. And so that's like that's the problem with his invention, but everybody's like jumping on it thinking it's amazing. But he's got like a tube with like 8 microwave transformer chamber tube section that's like trying to like hyper melt this stuff back into oil. But it's interesting.
So he's using some other kind of fossil fuel to bring a plastic product back into into its original state. So like, you're really not. It's not beneficial. It's kind of like I've heard before, what most people know of alchemy is the ability to turn like some kind of a common metal into gold, which is actually possible. But they have these machines that can do it, and it's obviously it's way more expensive than the gold you could produce. Like if you could do that and produce gold cheaper, then it would make sense, but it makes no sense because it would cost way more than the gold's worth to produce it.
With regard to the alcohol and it being illegal and all of that, it's really simple, whether it's that or anything else. If you find a way to make money by taking advantage of or taking money from other useless leaders, you're safe. You're fine. You try to touch their money, they're coming for you. It literally, like, those are the only rules. Those are the only rules as far as they're concerned. It's that simple. So it's that and so many other things.
Yeah, absolutely facts. That makes perfect sense. But like I said, it makes way more sense than them saying that the government cared about the common good, about the morality of the people in the country. Like they don't care about that. They never cared about that. Like that was probably back when all those like super harsh with like category 1 drugs were sold on like the pharmacy shelves back then. Is they're making alcohol illegal. Very sus. Okay, I got another one. I think this is more about the like people consenting to this and then therefore allowing it to happen. So this is, again, it's all about the same thing where nobody says anything, and then they continue to march on and do these things.
What we allow today is what becomes mandatory tomorrow. I just walked through the TSA and I said no to the facial scanner. No issues. Most people don't even know that it's voluntary, and that's a real problem. At over 250 US airports, TSA cameras now have facial recognition cameras that are testing to see if you comply with it. And from what I see, nobody in that line asks a single question. People just go ahead, line up, and do it. But the TSA's own website says participation is voluntary. They are at the TSA, they're at boarding gates now, and even coming back to the US through immigration, they're there too. And anytime I see these, I say, hey, I like to opt out, and I have zero issues at all. Our compliance actually matters, and history shows us this. For example, in 2004, they tried to give every airline passenger a color-coded risk score just to board a flight. Bunch of people pushed back on this and it got scrapped. When people say no, things stop. Many people worry that the government will control us by force, but as Aldous Huxley warns us in his book, instead people will hand it over voluntarily for convenience and not even realize it. And I think that's what's really happening. The TSA administrator has said openly that the goal is to make these biometrics mandatory for everyone to travel. And when it does, we can guess where it leads from there. Some are going to apathetically see this and say, what does it matter? They have our data anyway. There's cameras everywhere. Yeah, that's a real issue. But there's a difference between one that you can't control and one that you can. Research shows that when just 1 out of 4 people say no, the whole group follows, and one person can flip the entire thing around. Also, in the famous Milgram experiments, when just 2 people refused to comply with the authority figure, compliance went from 65% to 10%. 2 people did that. Every person who just goes along with these things moves the needle forward. So next time you're in that line, maybe be the one person who says no, maybe be that tipping point.
That goes hand in hand with what we've talked about many times about the demonic realm all being based on consent. It's like, yeah, they can oppress and they can attack, but for them to really get in and mess with you, they've got to have legal rights. They've got to have your consent, your permission to enter your home, to enter your life, to infiltrate the different parts of your life. At some point in time, most people that are plagued by demonic attacks, there was consent given at some point in time. And what she's talking about is exactly that.
I'm doing that when I go to the airport next. I'm doing that. Like when they do that little stupid scan you thing, I always go, I don't want that. I don't care what it is. I tell them I don't want that, and they're like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going in your stupid little scanning device.
They put the
And they
rubber
have to pat
glove
me
on.
down.
and they said, okay,
yeah.
we'll do the alternate procedure.
That's what I do. And I go, I don't want that either. And they're like, oh, well, we have to do this, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, go ahead, go for it. And then I usually talk to them about 9/11.
They make traveling so stressful anyway. So it's like most people, of course, even when I fly, you're just like, so like, kind of get turned into this like type A person. Like, I just need to get through security because I can't allow any kind of holdups because then I might miss my connector if I don't get on my flight and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, most people are more likely to say, not resist, just do exactly what they say. But yeah, that's interesting because most people probably would consider that if they told you to do something, you would think that it was mandatory. Like that you had to do it.
I thought
And
I had
most
to do
people
the
don't know.
photo
And I think
thing.
that's the
I'm
real
totally
truth of the
denying
matter
that.
is like that most people don't know their own rights and what they
Yeah.
can do and what they can't do. So it's a situation where my people perish for lack of knowledge. Like people don't even know that their own rights. They don't know what they have to consent to and what they don't.
Yeah. I'm totally doing that. Forget that stuff. I'm denying that photo thing. I thought the photo thing, because they had police officers, I thought, that were right there that always check you. So I'm totally denying it now. I'm just going to cause issues and I'm going to I tell people whenever I'm in line, when they're ever checking me, I go, you know why you're doing this, right? And they're like, because of, and I'm like, how many bombs have you stopped? I was like, how many people coming through here have you stopped with bombs? And they're like, oh, well, I'm like, no one. You've stopped none. How many crimes have you stopped?
I want to say that there was
Zero.
a study. We
You've
probably brought
stopped
this
zero
up before.
crimes.
There was a some kind of a survey or some kind of test. Can't remember how many years ago this was, but they said that they had all these tests to run through TSA, and it was like, was it something like 93 or 94? Or it was somewhere in like the mid to high 90s percentile that the things that they were trying to sneak through TSA got through TSA.
Well, yeah. And there's nothing that they've stopped. They haven't stopped anything. I'm like, oh,
Well, it's
you've
all
taken people's
retroactive. It's like
guns.
supposedly some guy has some kind of underwear bomb or shoe bomb or something like that, or water bottle bomb, and then they ban it afterwards, but it was already on the plane before. So why didn't you
Yeah.
catch it before? So then
It's
it limits
nonsense.
our rights. It's all a joke. Yeah, TSA is the illusion of is security, the illusion
not
of
real.
safety. It is. I think it probably is. It's a
Mm-mm.
litmus test to see how compliant you'll be. And check it out. So we got some more videos here. Check this out.
Well, this is absolutely terrifying. They're able to actually spy on us using Wi-Fi. I mean, forget videos, forget surveillance, forget microphones, all of the things we think about when it comes to surveilling people. They're now actually able to compose video imagery and figure out who's in a room, what you're doing, all just using Wi-Fi signals, which we're all surrounded with right now. Here is Cyber Maddie, and she explains this on her YouTube channel.
So I wanted to see for myself how much Wi-Fi could actually see. I grabbed a cheap ESP32 board and flashed some open source firmware onto it and pointed it at myself. It saw my heart rate, my breathing rhythm, it did my pose detection, and it detected multiple people walking around.
So this is all extremely scary, very, very frightening that now Wi-Fi could just be used to spy on us. They don't even need video cameras anymore. They can just use Wi-Fi and see an outline of you and what you're doing in your hotel room, using the bathroom, using your bed, doing whatever it is you do in your bed and in your bathroom. And they could see all of that. They could see people coming and going from your house. They could see what you're doing, where you are in your house. I mean, just imagine all of the things they could do. AI is now the future of military. And what are you going to do? You're going to take aim. You're going to use those Wi-Fi signals and AI to take aim at somebody and to try to send a targeted weapon at them, only for you to find out that you targeted the wrong person. I mean, that's where we're at right now with this. This is very, very frightening.
Hackers unite. That's all I gotta say.
Aaron, weren't you saying that wasn't that almost identical to what they were showing in? Was it the Dark Knight Rises?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was the first Batman movie in the Christopher Nolan series.
No, that wasn't in Batman Begins. I think that was either in the Dark Knight or I think it was in the last one. I think wasn't it the one with Bane?
You know what? Honestly, I don't remember which one it was. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, anyways, Batman used all these kind of electrical signals to be able to spy on. Was he trying to spy on Bane or something? And even Alfred says, "What are you
It's
doing?"
unethical.
Yeah, he was talking about how they were, and it was kind of like Batman was willing to do is like whatever the ends justify the means situation.
But then he told Alfred to destroy it. He's like, when we're done doing this, I need you to destroy
he
it.
says,
But it's
destroy it.
no,
we'll never use
it
that again.
It does get destroyed in the movie, but like that's an ending that's not real. That's an ending that's not reality. Like they showed us how they could utilize that to find anyone and surveil on anyone using our cell phones. And then like obviously, you know, our controllers are not, they're not going to destroy technology like that. They've had technology like that for the longest time. This is why for me personally, going down so many of these rabbit holes, if you truly go to the furthest reaches of the ends of these rabbit holes, they will leave you terrified. They will leave you sleepless. They will leave you understanding that the only way out is Jesus. And this is why I just go hard for Jesus and faith now, because it's like the only serenity, the only peace you're going to find in the middle of all of this is Jesus, because there is no, outside of him, there is no hope. There's no escaping the grid that they've created. There's no,
the Matrix, like as we said, the diagram of like the Matrix, like this is the Matrix. And unfortunately, the consent has been given for most of this already.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this stuff is probably already in there, and they're probably in the process of manufacturing consent. So again, it's like always like, hey, we got this new thing coming out. You've already seen it in the movies. And so you're more agreeable to, because you've already seen this stuff. And of course, because Batman's using it, it's not that dangerous, right? Because we know Batman's in charge. But when they introduce it in real life, you're like, okay, well, that idea doesn't seem so crazy because I've actually seen it before. So I believe that that's probably it's not so much predictive programming, it's the manufacturing of consent that's been given. And so I got one more video on this, and we'll get to something maybe more fun.
You never do this in a photo anywhere.
You
Okay.
just did it to a camera, actually to 4 cameras. So when you said never do this, you weren't talking about yourself?
No, just don't do that. Well, you can't do it because your fingerprints, right?
Right. They can, with up to 10 feet away, they can use AI to take the picture of your fingers and copy and replicate your fingerprint, which then can be used in biometrics.
Oh my gosh.
And get past, lines of security that they weren't able to get past before, just by a picture online.
I mean, it would have to be a really good camera, but that's insane.
Well, I mean, it's like something that, yeah, you're right. The camera has to be decent quality. Unfortunately, we're using good enough cameras. We could probably, like, my camera could probably pick up my fingerprints. And then, yeah, if
Hold
you
your
think
hand
about
up.
it, like you have biometrics to get into your phone, to unlock your phone. If like they had your fingerprint, then they could get into your phone. I mean, not that these people couldn't get into your phones any other way, but having your fingerprints when you've done nothing wrong, and then they could, I don't know, potentially say that they found your fingerprints at some kind of a scene of some crime. It's scary.
No weapon formed against me. I rebuke it all in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen, amen.
This is why I'm just going to plug this really quick. I know y'all probably get sick of me saying this, but this is why we must pray without ceasing.
No, we don't. We're not sick of that. That's good. Okay, I've got a really interesting video. To go back to the TSA topic, of course, we know why we've got TSA. I hope the people in this audience are aware that it's because that one day in September in 2001 is the main reason we have all this, again, the illusion of safety, because we can't ever let that happen again. But for some reason, it seems like certain people like to celebrate that day. And I'm not talking about people who are dancing that day. I'm talking about something else. Check this out.
I just truly cannot get over the fact that somebody had the idea, ran it through like an entire design team, approvals, got everything signed off to build matching, identical, some would say twin towers in downtown Seattle and install an airplane fuselage between them.
I had to look that up. That was one of the times where I decided I need to look this up to find out if this is actually real. It is 100% real. That they're doing that in Seattle. I'm sure we got some people from Seattle in the audience in Washington. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know what to think about that. I mean, it's obviously a very intentional decision. A lot of money behind that. Like, a lot of architects had to design it. There was obviously a lot of decisions made, conversations had. And so it's not an accident. The only question remains why.
Yeah, so when I looked it up on with the ChatGPT demon, I looked it up and it said, yes, in downtown Seattle, developers installed the fuselage of a retired Boeing 747. Do you know what supposedly hit the Twin Towers? 747, right?
Dude.
Or was it 757? Whatever. Between two nearly identical high-rise residential towers as part of the WB 1200, also called Aero 1200 project. The aircraft is suspended between the towers and is intended to serve as an office and public space while honoring Seattle's aviation heritage in connection to Boeing.
Boeing is involved? That's hilarious. We already know Boeing's the most corrupt organization, killing their people, their whistleblowers.
That's weird. I mean, I guess it's not necessarily weird because I did a video a while back talking about the steel that was taken from the site of the World Trade Centers that was displayed all around the whole country, not just the country, but the world, where they have these weird monuments to the collapse of the towers. And it seems like a mockery. It seems like somebody who's, I don't know, they're really lauding this achievement instead of like what it actually was this giant tragedy. But they'll wrap it in never forget. But I mean, it's like, that's grotesque the way that it's displayed. And that's not like that imagery. is got to trigger people when they see that.
It just creates disassociation. I mean, you got to disassociate from that understanding of that experience and that reality. It's just solidifying some kind of weird thing.
Well, it's going all the way back to what we were talking about at the very beginning of the podcast when I walked in and I saw those weird angel statues, the damn angels. Like, some people are going to say, that is weird, and they're going to question, why is that there? Why are you guys doing this? I don't like it. And then other people are just going to say, huh, and then just walk past and just go about their merry days and just not even try to. They don't want to know.
Well, I
why somebody.
think your daughter is most people. Why are you asking them that? That's weird. Like, why are you asking them that? But like, to you, it's like, it's weird not to ask. It's weird that they're here. What do you mean? But
it's weird to pretend this is normal.
Yes. That's exactly right. And I think if more people paid attention and more people asked questions, more people would say no to things like Brian was talking about, where they ask you, because most things are still voluntary right now, but their plan is for it to not always be like that. But it's up to us. We got to say no to this stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, so speaking of 9/11, and not necessarily the date, but the numerology, maybe the significance of the numbers, I thought this was interesting. I've learned a little bit about the numerology between the number 9 and number 11, but let's just start off with the number 9. It's a significant number to a lot of people.
1 plus 3 is 4. 13 minus 4 is 9. And I just started laughing out loud, like that was just the strangest coincidence to me. And I didn't think much of it for a second, but then I walked by my microwave and I saw the number 11. And I just reflexively went, all right, 1 plus 1 is 2, 11 minus 2 is 9. And I started freaking out. I was like, what is this? How come? My first thought, to be honest with you, was, here I am, the human calculator, traveling the world, performing. I thought that I had missed one day in 4th grade when they taught this. It's so simple, you're going to see here in a second. I thought that I just missed that day and nobody ever shared it with me. And so we moved a lot when I was a kid, so I had a lot of reasons to think I just missed it. So I started calling my math friends and say, what is this? What is it called? But here's how it works. Let's start at the simplest number, 10, first number after 9. All you do is add up all the digits in that number and write that total underneath. So 1 plus 0 is 1. Put the total underneath and subtract. 10 minus 1 is 9. Let's try a couple random ones. 15. 1 plus 5, add them together, you get 6. 15 minus 6 is 9. Let's try 19. 1 plus 9 is 10. 19 minus 10 is 9. That works up to 19, but watch what happens over 19. Let's do 20. Here's 20. First step, add the 2 digits together. 2 plus 0 is 2. Put the total underneath and subtract. 20 minus 2 is 18. And look at your answer, 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. Your answer will always add up to 9. The next time you're driving and you see a speed limit sign, you're going to see 55. Add them together, 5 and 5 gives you 10. Put the total underneath and subtract. 55 minus 10 is 45, and look at the answer, 45. 4 plus 5 is 9. So I challenge all of you watching today, write down your age. I'm sure a lot of you have pencil and paper. If you're really good with numbers or just confident, just do it in your head. But think of your age or write down your age, all right? So let me do it too. I think I'm 37 in different number base. So anyway, so it's 37, let's say that. All right, so you write down your age, and now you add those two numbers together. 3 plus 7 is 10. You take that away, and you get 27, and look at the answer. 2 plus 7 is 9.
Pretty weird. Pretty weird.
Brian?
God made math, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the significance of it is, but it's cool. Whatever.
Well, yeah, 9 is a magic number. That's one of the magic numbers, is 9. Yeah, like, why would all of them be derivatives of 9? That's weird, right? So obviously, 9, what I learned way back in the day was 9 was like a number of completion. It's like the end of something. You kind of think about like how, you have a baby, 9 months, in the belly, 9 months, gives birth. The mom gives birth. But 11 too, and 11 is from the Lemites, the Crowleys of the world. He considered 11 also to be a magic number, and 11 is symbolic of something about portals and new beginnings. So then you have the 9, the magic number, and then you have the 11. So check this out. So I did a video a while back about this, about all the 11s on that fateful day in September. Guys, what do you know about the number 11 and its connection with witchcraft and also September 11th? In numerology, 11 is considered a master's number and has a lot of power and significance. To occultists such as Aleister Crowley, the father of modern Satanism, number 11 was a magic number, and I do mean magic with a K, K being the 11th letter in the alphabet. In fact, if you've ever seen magic spelled with a K, it's very likely you're seeing Aleister Crowley's continued influence on our society. But what does number 11 have to do with September 11th? Well, obviously there's 11 and 9/11, but there's a lot more than that. 9/11, 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals 11. September 11th is the 254th day of the year. 2 plus 5 plus 4 is 11. On the 11th day of September, there's 111 days left in the year. 2001, 2 ones, 11. The first plane to hit the World Trade Center was flight number 11. Flight 11 had 92 passengers. 9 plus 2 equals 11. The total number of passengers on all hijacked planes on September 11th was 254 passengers. Once again, 2 plus 5 plus 4 equals 11. New York is the 11th state. New York City, Afghanistan, and George W. Bush all have 11 letters. And together, the World Trade Centers look like an 11. And on September 11th, 1941, construction began on the Pentagon, which was also attacked on September 11th. And the Pentagon also has 11 letters as well. And if that's not strange enough, on September 11th, 1990, George H.W. Bush gave this speech.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
11 years to the day before September 11th, 2001. Is all that coincidence, or is it magic?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, in the witchcraft world, numerology is everything.
Demons
And
love their numbers.
And all I can say is that the more I learned about numerology, the more I had to pray to forget. Because I don't, no, seriously, because like it becomes a plague. It becomes something that just haunts you every time you see anything.
Speaking of that, as we record right now, we're at the 1 hour and 11 minute mark of the podcast. Some freaky stuff right there. I even missed one. I want to say that. So American Airlines, you have on the tail wing, A1, 1, also 11. Isn't that weird?
Don't. I think my personal belief is that demons love numbers, and every person that I've dealt with that is hyper demonized, they are obsessed with numbers and numerology. So I tell people, like, dude, if you're dealing with demons, stop looking at numbers, stop counting numbers, stop paying attention to numbers. I think I don't know what it is about numbers. I don't know what it is with people's obsession with them, but I promise you, the demonic world loves their numbers. So
You
I don't
start
really
thinking
know.
like that, it consumes you. You see it absolutely everywhere. I remember in the late 2000 teens when everyone was just starting to hear about Nikola Tesla and everybody was hearing his quote about 369, which, nobody can actually directly attribute to him. So who knows if he actually even made that quote. But allegedly he had an obsession with doing everything in intervals of 3, 6, and 9. And you've got people to this day that are like, oh yeah, Tesla's 369 method. I'm telling you, that's a trap. I'm telling you, like, that was released, that was told to you, that was explained to you so that you would all fall in love with numerology and all start following numerology and letting it consume you. And I know there are people that are probably listening to this right now that it's consumed them. It's completely consumed them. And they'll stand here and they'll have more passion and conviction speaking to the truth of the 369 methodology than they will in their faith in Jesus or anything else. Once you start learning about that stuff and once you start consuming it, it starts to control you. And I'm telling you, there is a there's a direct correlation between that understanding and demonic activity in your life. It's not even a question.
Yeah, it's not something. I mean, again, it's like you're noticing patterns, but I think that's the whole thing where we talk about with like the idea of like sacred geometry, God's fingerprint when he spoke things into creation. It's kind of like God created a physical, not computerized matrix that we live in. And so it is all based on like, there's an order to it. So you can boil lots of things down to numbers. And that's why like when you see like the matrix imagery, it's all the ones and zeros because it's like what you're seeing is like it's like manifest of some kind of a pattern that is, the numerology turns into geometry and it turns into physical things.
Well, God
Okay.
created man, man created numbers. And it's our pathetic attempt at trying to understand him. It's our pathetic attempt at trying to understand and put things in. Because one could argue, right? Well, then why does it say in Scripture that on the seventh day? Because we are men, we're humans, and we're trying to understand things the way that they are, and things have to be dumbed down for us to understand. It's literally why Jesus came to earth, because we're so stupid. We didn't understand sacrifice. We didn't understand humility. We didn't understand eternal love. He had to show us.
Yeah, but God
got a
did. Yeah,
theory on
he
that.
did establish days and times, though. So it's like he did set
So
up
we
the
created
order.
numbers.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
we
in
created
fact, in fact, yeah, numbers were not a thing actually originally in the biblical like how like your Bible verse says chapter 32,
well, yeah. Well,
24.
chapters and
It
verses are not in it, but
originally
it does talk about the days of the week. I mean, that's the
sure,
beginning
sure,
of the
sure,
Bible.
but it does say originally it was saying like it was like bet do like so it was
Yeah,
like
but all the Hebrew
letters
are like consistent with numbers.
yeah, so the numbers were like secondary to the letters, but
But
it's interesting because what was it says Satan was the tradings of him, right? So like it was his tradings that he corrupted things, right? And it was like found iniquity in him, and so like it's really interesting. I think Satan, like, how do you do business? You do business with numbers. You don't do business with words. You do business with equivalents. Like this is equal to that. Right. And so a lot of trade, I think, is in a sense, that's like us using numbers to try to make something right or equal or
Well,
balanced.
you're assigning a value to something.
Yeah, you're sending
it's hard to assign a
and
value
God's
without some kind of a number.
yeah, and God's kind of more not that way. He's kind of like it's forgiveness. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like I don't know. I think like
it's our feeble attempt at trying to understand him. I mean, look at the parables that Jesus explained to the disciples, and they still were so dense they didn't get it. They didn't understand that he was trying to teach them about a world that exists outside of our vision. He was trying to get them to understand there's a kingdom, there's a realm that you can't see. But he didn't know how to explain it to them because we're humans and we're limited in our understanding. So he gave them analogy after analogy after analogy, and it didn't really make a lot of sense to them until he came back. They didn't recognize him, and then he ascended in heaven, and he said, I'm leaving my Holy Spirit with you. Then they began to understand that there's another realm. But we have to understand that our understanding is so limited. And so he did the best he could to help us understand it all, but there's no way we could comprehend. The same way that our vision, we can only see 1/2 of 1% of the visible light spectrum. There's so much we can't comprehend. So nothing can change my mind that numbers are our feeble attempt at trying to understand God.
Yeah, but they are all over the Bible.
I mean, he does have a book.
But who
called
wrote Bible?
Numbers.
Who wrote the Bible,
Yeah.
though?
Well,
it was inspired by God, but man
wrote it, but it was inspired by the Holy Spirit.
Right, and so he's going to give us what he's going to give us things that only we can understand.
Yeah, but God is telling you to build. If He's telling you to build something with these dimensions that He's giving man, He's telling man that this is going to happen in this many days, and then so in the Bible you have 3, 40, 12, 7, those kind of numbers.
I think he's communicating to man their weak
yeah, but
mind.
God created
because I
man,
think
so
God
like
would
he's trying to explain things through these numbers. He's not saying worship the numbers, but he's again, if you can pick up patterns, there's lots of them through the.
Okay, I think God would have told Noah, build an ark. And if Noah was actually listening to the Spirit, he would have just built it and knew how big to build it. He didn't have to
What do you mean?
given
What do you
the
mean if he
numbers,
was listening to the Spirit?
If he was like fully tuned in, I don't think we ever are.
Stop
fully.
cutting.
I don't think we ever are.
Make
fully.
it this long. He could have gone by sight and by vision and by leading.
I mean, I think that if you get a specific word from God and He tells you exactly how to build something, I think that's pretty into the Spirit.
No. What I'm saying is like I agree with like what I'm saying is with like what Aaron's trying to say too is like that like if you're like numbers are a way of man's mind trying to understand or comprehend the Spirit of the Lord. Like God has to give us numbers to communicate to us. But if we were really just listening, we wouldn't need numbers. We wouldn't need it's like we wouldn't need like equivalence if we were like in tune with the Holy Spirit fully.
Here's an example. Some people can draw a perfect circle. other people have to draw lines in a diagram to follow a grid to create a perfect circle.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that literally is the perfect example.
That's good.
So like
yeah.
our minds are limited. Like we understand numbers, but what it really is probably wouldn't be explained in numbers. It would be explained in a, like Brian saying, if we could directly hear from him, start here. Okay, stop. I want you to stop. I want you to, it would be like a constant communication. It would be just a knowing. We wouldn't need numbers at all. And so, but it goes back to worship the creator, not the creation.
Yeah, of course. That at the end of the day, that's it. But I mean, I'm just saying there's patterns to things. Let's switch gears. Let's watch a funny video. I got this one, and then we've got a timely topic.
Alyssa and Andrew were worlds apart from the beginning. He was almost 9 years older, established with a good job at a tool company, a nice house, even had a plane. She was 22, loved eating turkey legs at state fairs, and was still figuring life out.
I love that.
Dude, I don't even know what I just watched.
Yeah, I don't get
If
what.
I ever go missing, please give them more to work that's in this. Yeah, they give this story for this guy that all his hobbies and all the things he's accomplished. She liked turkey legs at state fairs, and she was still figuring things out.
That's a dude that didn't pay attention right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turkey
Hopefully,
legs.
hopefully you never end up on one of those shows, because it seemed like whatever was told next was something disastrous. But yeah, hopefully if you ever get some biography, hopefully they get more details than you like turkey legs. The comments in that were hilarious. That was one time. Literally a turkey leg at a state fair. Who doesn't like that anyways? Okay, I want to switch gears to this Oliver Tree thing. I got to be honest, I didn't know who Oliver Tree was before this past week, but I feel like I need to know more about him now.
Artist Oliver Tree died in a freak accident, and I'm calling it a freak accident because it was a helicopter crash, crashing into another helicopter just 2 weeks after he had a huge falling out with Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records is owned by Warner Media, but its CEO is Elliot Grange. This is a Jewish multimillionaire. They have a really interesting system. You understand that there's great control over all music production. And he publicly fell out with Atlantic Records, saying that a lot of things were failing because he had no budget for literally anything. After he made them millions and millions of dollars, he left and then independently started his own records label so he could publish his own album. I wasn't a fan of Oliver. I'm not keeping up with the music scene, but it is interesting that you have such a vocal, social media-driven critique of Atlantic Records and the way that record labels are running their artists, and how they're contracting with companies like TikTok and then forcing the use of music into social media and restricting artists for speaking out. And then suddenly he dies.
He actually broke away from his record company completely. So like he just broke away from it. And so like he got complete freedom and got his rights to his music, but I'm pretty sure there's like a clause in Atlantic Records that says like if the artist dies, the rights and everything go to the record company. So the record company.
I've got another video, a follow-up to that. So yeah, that's yeah, I mean, of course, we don't know anything. This is all alleged, but it is strange that you have somebody who's very successful. Again, even though I'd never heard of him. Very successful, and then somebody who wants to get out. And it's like, that's the thing, is like some of these people, when they do get a certain level of fame, yeah, they could do so many things just through social media and promoting their own stuff, like without needing the label. Because again, you're thinking about like back in the day, let's just say like 60s, 70s, 80s. Like if the record label didn't give you the push, it's like, well, how would anyone really know who you are? The only way you could really do it is knock on doors and go try to play in bars and try to get some kind of grassroots popularity, but you'd still be capped, right? Because how could you get this music out to the masses?
100% true.
But now we live in a day and age where, yeah, there's all kinds of people like on TikTok and stuff like that. There are independent people that become famous just by being talented.
They're still the gatekeepers. I still believe there are metrics in place that chooses who they let through the algorithm and who they let make it. And they're still only really going to do that with people that they can control. And again, he broke the rule that I spoke of earlier. You want to take money from the useless eaters in the world, that's fine. But you take money out of their pockets, they're not okay with that. And he was a whole brand. Like, he was a whole brand. I mean, he made them tens of millions of dollars with his music. Just talking about numerology too, there's crazy numerology stuff going on with his passing
situation.
and the
Yeah.
dates that it happened and his birthday and how old he was and the differences between like him and his buddy, the famous YouTuber guy that died as well
Wait,
in
so
the crash.
did they say 2 helicopters collided together?
In the air.
And one of them only had one person in it. There are people that are claiming or speculating that it's all fake because I guess allegedly he's faked his death before.
Huh.
And he just had an album come out or is getting ready to have an album come out.
Well, what's crazy is he had an album that he gave to the company to records, and the record company would not release his album, and he was pissed, and that was the reason why he ended up branching away from them, was because he was saying like, dude, you guys like literally won't let my record come out. Why are you stopping it? Like, and so he's like, sorry, everybody, I wrote a bunch of songs and you'll never get to hear them because the record company won't let him out. And it makes you wonder what was in those songs he wrote. And did he write stuff related to Pizzagate and some other stuff? Because he was kind of one of those edgy people that kind of calls things kind of comically that are right there in front of your face. Kind of like, the whitest kids we know. What's that guy?
Yeah, he kind of did seem like he did like some kind of weird skits, and he kind of did seem like he had like an edgelord kind of personality.
He did, and he pushes that sort of narrative a little bit. And so there was some stuff that he put out that was related to, like, there was a video or something with him like and a dude dressed in a pizza outfit, and like
Yeah. He had a music video. I think I want to say was he like dressed up as like pizza, and he was like chasing around kids or something.
This Oliver Tree situation keeps getting stranger the more you look into it. So Oliver Tree passes away at 32 2 weeks before his 33rd birthday. Shortly before his trip to Brazil, he collaborates with another Mexican artist named Malcriada. And together they make a Mr. Pizza series, which is supposed to be this dreamlike weird core aesthetic. They're teaching kids to be aware of adults offering things like gifts and candy and Roblox cards for no reason. Teaching kids to be aware of strangers asking to meet them alone, basically teaching kids to spot the danger signs. And the bad guy in the video is named Mr. Pizza. And I'm sure we all know what pizza is by now. If not, you've probably been living under a rock. Now keep in mind, Oliver Tree left Atlantic Records on the 1st of April saying that he was frustrated with the label. And apparently he said it was like a nightmare. He was trying to release his album Love You Madly, Hate You Badly, and it was cancelled. Fast forward, he releases his album independently by himself after leaving Atlantic Records. Around the same time, he starts dropping these videos with Mr. Pizza. Now, I'm not saying anything for sure, I'm just saying that the timeline is interesting. But let me know what you guys think.
So yeah, it was something kind of questionable that it was like, wait a second, he might know something, and he's like outing it a little bit too much.
He definitely knew something. Yeah, that symbolism is not going to be lost on
Mhm.
anybody in this audience if you see that.
No, and he was pretty intelligent. Surprisingly, he was very intelligent. So anybody that aware,
Yeah,
of
he
that
was super
intelligent,
smart.
like that guy that was that intelligent, we know he knows. He looked into stuff, and so like it is funny though that maybe he did plan. There's a possibility that he's still alive and he faked this whole thing, but like he didn't have the budget necessarily to fake all of that. I don't think.
Well, you really think about it. That let's just say he really did want to get out. That might be the only way you could actually really get out.
Yeah, I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying? Because I think that's the more dangerous part. Again, this is all alleged. We're not saying anything. We're just talking. Is that if somebody who was the puppet master and the one said, there's no walking away from this. Like you made a deal with the devil. I don't care if the contract says you can get out of this contract. You ain't never getting out of this contract, because it's not just one guy potentially cutting into the profits for these record labels. It's the idea that if you could show other people the way out, then you really got some problems for the record labels, right? It's like, because they don't want anybody to be able to do this. So like one person is too many, because one person shows people the path to, hey, I don't like the way that they're treating me either. I'm going to leave next. And so if something bad happens to this guy, here is an example of what I'm talking about, is that a lot of artists who had problems with the record labels let's just say they met an untimely demise.
Following the sad news of Oliver Tree dying in a helicopter crash, I think it's important to look at other artists that died prematurely while having issues with their record label. Michael Jackson, homicide, major feud with Sony Music. Prince, overdose, 2-year lawsuit with Warner Records. Lisa Lopez from TLC, car crash, very vocal about her issues with LaFace Records. Tupac, gunned down while looking to leave Death Row Records. Amy Winehouse, alcohol poisoning, well-documented feud with Universal. Whitney Houston, drowning, publicly talked about her issues with Arista Records. Juice WRLD, overdose, exposed the dark side of the music industry, and many, many more. Now, I'm not saying that all of them died because of issues with their record label, but major artists can also be very profitable after they pass. First, record labels have insurance in case something happens to their artist to protect the loss of revenue. Second, in most cases, they own the royalties, so when an artist dies, they go viral, record sales and merch goes through the roof, plus they can make an infinite amount of AI remixes and tributes and cash in on that. So when an artist is becoming too hard to manage or wants to renegotiate or talks too much, the corporate structure is designed to suck everything out. Up-and-coming artists have to understand that the real power is between them and their supporters and in owning their masters. Most of today's mainstream talent already had their soul snatched. They have to bring in degeneracy while keeping their mouths shut on all the major issues that are affecting their fans, unless the issue benefits the global elite. We need to be more selective about who gets our attention.
I couldn't agree more. And to add to that, I would say anyone out there who is a follower of Jesus that makes music, do not involve anyone in your music or your dealings that doesn't serve Jesus. Period. Because they can't be trusted. You don't know what they're going to do with it. You don't know what their intentions are. Certainly don't get into contractual obligations with these people. Everybody wants a record deal. Everybody wants to sign something with somebody because they can put them on. They can get their music bigger. They can get their... So it's like, you have to really deal with that ego inside that wants you to blow up, that wants you to be this huge thing. And first, just ask yourself and ask the Holy Spirit, what do you want from me? What do you want to happen with this? Because all I want to do is what you want to happen with this, regardless of my dreams and regardless of my goals. Because yeah, that guy said it. I mean, that's...
Yeah. What he said was clearly true about who gets our attention and what they want to do with your attention. But I can't help but think about it too, is that these people, again, are not stupid. These people who are the controllers are not dumb. So they have to imagine that there are going to be this generation of independent artists, right? So then they're going to have to get to them too. It's very similar to how, you once had this antiquated model of like the 24-hour news cycle, right? So you have like these hairpiece anchor people, right? And all these all highly cosmetic up and like perfect news. And then so we all identified that the news is fake. So where do people get their news now? They get it from TikTok, they get it from podcasters, they get it through all the socials. So of course, these people are not dumb, so they're going to co-opt these people too. Like they have to infiltrate each kind of way that they could get at you. So then you have these other people saying, well, I'm not bought and paid for by Sony Records and so blah, blah, blah. But they have a way of buying them through other means.
They'll
like kind of the old model.
Yeah, no, for sure. They'll let you in any of these spaces. Like you can make money. You can make decent money, good money, and live a decent life and not be controlled by these people and not get involved with them and not sign any contracts and not sign any deals and not be controlled by them. But there is a level where you hit a certain point, and if you want more, and that's the problem, is that inevitably almost everyone wants more. They want a little more fame, they want a little more money, they want a little more recognition, they want their music played a little bit more, and that's when they step in and they give you an offer. And if you're not at a place where you're completely content with what you've already got, they're gonna get you, man. They're gonna get you. They're gonna offer you a tour with somebody. Hey, we can get you on this tour coming up with such and such artist. Oh my gosh, if you're still a fan, if you still don't have that under control, that's the beginning of the end for you, man. If they like it's so subtle. And this is why you really got to have those internal desires under control. because they will offer you something, again, permission based.
Yeah, well,
You know,
it's human
some-
nature that somebody would again, because I think we all have a little bit of a competitive nature to us, where you would
Sure.
be like you're a talented musician and you're grinding, and you're somewhat successful, and then you look at somebody else who you're like, I'm better than them, and these people are selling out stadiums, and then they're getting 1 billion downloads on Spotify, and then somebody would say, well, how did they do it? And then eventually you go that route because this is the only way that you've plateaued as an artist.
Sure.
So the only way you can get the rocket ship up is to play ball.
And this is why they can't trap true believers in Christ, because the true believers in Christ, it's about the why. It's not about the numbers. It's not about how far it goes. It's not about the amount of spins. It's not about, I'm sure you want as many people to see your podcast as possible, but at the end of the day, you trust that the Holy Spirit's going to get it out to the people that need to see it, and only the people that need to see it. And whatever that number is fine. It's completely fine, because he's in control, not us. And so it's like, what are you willing to do to get it out in front of more people, whether it's this or anything else? And it's like, well, that's where we have to really make a decision early on. And I would say this to anybody that's getting into the content space, the music space, whatever. You have to get to the headspace and the heart posture early on, where it's all for his glory, and wherever the chips fall is where the chips fall, and that's all there is to it. And you're happy with that.
Amen. Yeah, right. So I'm sure, all of us who do social media, we want growth, right? Like everybody wants to get, everybody wants the message to get out to more people. But at the same time, like if you're trying to look for a shortcut and you're willing to compromise to get it, then by the time you get it, it's like it's not going to be what it's cracked up to be. Because the reason that we really enjoy this is because we do feel like that God has given us a message and we're able to speak it to a lot of people. So I mean, there's no, all of the three of us, we get heard by a lot of people, and it's only by the glory of God and God's power that we're able to do that. But if you think about it, but it also is fun because we do know that we're doing it the way that we believe God wants us to. And then, so then you could achieve, so the more you achieve, the more you're grateful to God for what you've been given. But if you took a shortcut and then you weren't allowed to talk about some things you wanted to talk about, and you can see people you can definitely see people who've taken that deal, and then all of a sudden their demeanors change, and because I feel like they've been trapped. Where it's again, that's the Faustian bargain we always talk about, where it's you made this deal, and it's when you got what you wanted, it really was never what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, like I said, it comes with, that those tiny details about the important ones. It's your own autonomy, and basically, can you sleep at night, and can you go before the Lord and with a clean conscience? It's that's money cannot buy that.
No, and you're essentially selling your soul when you do things that go against your conscience and your morals and your ethics. That's what you're doing when you do things that you're not supposed to, but you do it anyways. That's essentially the selling of your soul. And it's not done by some big paper that you have to sign. It's not done some special room you get invited into. It's literally just little by little, and you just do those things that cause you to question your morals and your ethics, and that's how you eventually sell it. And something else to mention too is that all those celebrities not only were in issues with their record labels, but also the Jews. Sorry, anyways, how to say it. How to say it. Just so you
Next
guys
time, just
know.
say little hats, Ryan.
The little
we know
hat.
what you're talking about.
Really quick
the
though,
little
is there
hats.
any
The
significance
little
to
hats.
his name essentially being Olive Tree?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody kind of knows that
That
Tom
is
Cruise is
interesting.
not Tom Cruise's name. A lot of these people have a stage name. So Olive Tree, Olive Tree.
He does look like one of the little hats when you look at him.
Does he? I mean,
he does have a little bit of a
funny
little
when I
hat.
first showed my wife a picture of him. She's like, "Is he Asian?" And I was like, "No, that's just the kind of the shtick he's got." Because he had a very interesting look, or maybe he still does, and maybe he's got a different.
Yeah,
look
maybe he still
because
does. Yeah.
he wants people to think that he's passed. I got another video about sort of the same kind of thing. This Sabrina Carpenter, who just like came out on the scene like gangbusters, and now she's ultra famous, performing at the Grammys and everything. Nobody ever heard of her before until like I think like 5 minutes ago.
Watching a video that really disturbed me. You said Sabrina Carpenter? Is that
Yeah,
what it was?
Sabrina Carpenter.
There's all these old men around her. She was showing crazy eyes. I think it looked like they're putting her in a insane asylum. But then in the background, you zoomed in. There's all these pictures of these little children, like her as a little girl, looking like being like kind of sexually abused. And I was like, wow, they're gonna put that in a music video, like flaunting, like almost like an MK Ultra. Like what do you make of that?
In the video you're talking about in particular, in the video, she's like this little girl who is like in her bedroom, and then there's these like 4 men who are wearing like business suits who are kind of controlling her almost as if she's like a human doll MK Ultra thing. And like you're saying, like her eyes start going crazy and spiraling, and then in the background where it's intercutting these images of her going crazy is like photos of her as a baby and tons of children on the walls of this video. And eventually in the video she ends up like in a straitjacket. And she's like trying to get out of it, and there's these like 4 businessmen like marionetting her. When you look into these artists, all of them have these connections that are usually tied in with like military or other like sometimes like religious affiliations. Ariana Grande, her mother is the CEO of a telecommunications company that makes the telecommunications systems for the Navy. Another example, right? Jack Black. Jack Black's mother was the woman who created the guidance systems for the Apollo 13 moon mission and then the Minutemen missiles that like the US uses. So it's always these really deep connections to like military.
I don't like that at all.
No, but it's
so
like
disturbing.
it's very disturbing because if you think about it, like this Sabrina Carpenter is obviously very young. And again, maybe I'm just old and I'm just out of touch, but I don't think she's been on the scene very long. Has she? Am I wrong?
I don't really know anything about her.
Well, anyways, she's definitely very young. So she's already making music videos where she's showing very clear symbolism that she's been MK Ultra'd and controlled, and now she's trapped. Like
Dude,
literally
all of her
showing like,
music
the imagery
videos
of being
and
in
all
a
of her stuff is-
straitjacket trying to get out. Like, but like she's there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is, you would almost think if it was like, let's just say like Prince at the end of his career, or like Michael Jackson, who've been doing it forever, and now they're trying to show you that what the music business is, because they've shown many signs of trying to get out. But she's like just got in. And they're putting that in there. That is crazy disturbing because it's like she's saying like what's happening to her.
Well, because the younger generation of musicians, I'm not saying all of them. There are some really talented musicians that just want to make music. But I would say the vast majority of the younger generation of musicians or artists, quote unquote, they just want to be famous. They just want to be on everyone's screens. They just want to be on stage. They just want to see their name in shining lights. And so they'll take whatever deal. They'll do whatever they're asked. And they're not writing these songs, most of them. And they're also not writing these videos. They're just doing what they're told. And so, yeah, it's almost like the industry's way of saying, like, this is what we do. What are you going to do about it? Like, that's their opportunity to use artistic license. Like, do you remember that song with Justin Bieber? I don't remember what song it was, but there was a video of him standing in front of a wall, and there's all these animations behind him. And
But yeah, that was that Diplo one.
I think so.
Like where what was it called? I know what you're talking about though. Yeah, the one where he's like, yeah, the one guy's like a the Skrillex. Isn't that what it is? Isn't that what it's?
I don't know. I just know it might have been the Diplo song, but I know that like they're just drawing stuff on there the whole time. The whole thing is when you slow it down, there's
it was like where
hundreds
were
of frames.
you when I need you or something like that. Is that what the song's called?
Yeah, something like that. But like when you slow it down and you see some of the different images on them, they're diabolical.
Well, yeah, and then there's these demon looking things that are standing like right behind him.
And he's got no control over that. He had no control over that. Like anyone that has signed these deals, they're going to do what they're told. They're going to be where they're supposed to be. They're going to perform where they're supposed to perform. They're going to be. I mean, dude, who is that artist that I know I should probably know some of these things, but that artist who's almost dead on stage, barely moving his mouth, and he looks like a dummy?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Is that
Looks
like
like an
Frankie
animatronic?
Valley? Was it like
Yes, dude.
Frankie Valley?
You gotta find a video of that, or if not, we'll put
Yeah,
it in
insert
the
one here.
final
We'll
video.
insert one right here.
He looks like an animatronic, dude. And he's not, he's barely even moving his lips, but that's the way it works. Once they get you ensnared, you are their slave, and you will make them money until they've drained every last drop out of you.
Yeah, that is like the saddest thing when you see that guy up on stage, because you're like, why is this guy not at home?
Dude.
It is. It's like somebody who's counting the money. You know, there was actually a really interesting video, and maybe we'll have to find this one too, dig this up. Stan Lee, famous comic book creator for Marvel. He was in all the movies. And you guys ever seen that one video of him? He was like at some kind of a comic book show or something like that, some kind of convention. And he like wanted to leave.
So sad.
And these people were being like really kind of abusive to him. Cause he was like, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how much longer he lived after this, but he's just this really frail old man. And it's like, no, you're not going anywhere. Like, you're here and you're doing this, and you're talking about like somebody who's got more money, obviously at that point in his life, more money than he could spend. And he's still being forced to go out there. The same thing, Frankie Valley's like, this guy's like performing in Vegas still. And what is he like? Is he 90? I mean, he might be in his 80s, but he might as well have been 150 the way that he looked.
They don't have a choice. The only way that they can get out is if they get let out. And most of those artists, they're never going to get let out. Some of them might. I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know what they've got to do on the back end, but most of those artists are still making music in some capacity or another, and they're on the hook. They're just
what's the same thing with the famous Bob Dylan interview where he was like 60 Minutes, right? And he's like, why are you still doing this? Because he's keeping his end up of the bargain. He made a deal a long time ago. With who? And he basically said, with like the chief commander of this world and the one we can't see.
Yep.
As creepy as it could be. Like, I mean, he might as well just came out right and said with the devil. Like, who do you think I'm talking about? Because why wouldn't these people eventually take all their fame and their fortune and live their life out quietly someplace, maybe in Montana, off the grid? Because they can't. They're not allowed to. Okay, let's stick on the theme of weird celebrities doing maybe. Is this a humiliation ritual here with Katy Perry?
Why did they slime Katy Perry with the water pressure of a fire hose? I'm not going to show the video out of respect. I know she left and texted her agent like, yo, with 3 question marks. But she might have CTE on Nickelodeon, like the SpongeBob version of the Super Bowl, you know? Like, was it, like, did nuns do the plumbing?
Dude, she could barely stand. She looked like she was, like, it shot up her nose so powerful. It's like, and that
he was
angle
right.
just,
Well, of
like,
course, it's funny. He
boom.
says, I'm not going to show that out of respect. And then he shows it.
And then it shows it. Here's what I think would help for us to go through this thought experiment. Most of society see these people as icons. And they see them as we see them for their celebrity status. And so most of society looks up to these people. But their handlers see them as puppets.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do
1000%.
Yeah, they're going to do whatever they want to do with them to get a laugh for themselves. They would do something like that. It would be no different than, let's just say, the 3 of us, right? Let's just say the 3 of us were in like the top 5 men that run the world and control the world. It would be like if JT and I had a running joke about one of the celebrities that everyone idolizes that we can't stand. And I did something publicly to make one of them look like an absolute idiot just to make JT laugh. That's the kind of stuff that they do. just to get a laugh behind the scenes. It really is as simple as that. And some of them might be humiliation rituals, but also they're just this, as far as they're concerned, this is their world and they're pulling the strings and they're doing the things that give them their jollies. And it sometimes is that simple.
I think it's like a dominance thing.
Exactly.
Yes, to keep people in check, kind of, in a way, too, I think.
Well, it's like, you think about it, like Katy Perry is an excellent example of this, is that she's the one who says, and then I sold my soul. She's talking about how she failed at being like Amy Grant, and then she becomes like the biggest pop star in the world. So then these people are starting to feel this pride and how good they are and how on top they are. And then, they say, we're going to take you and we're going to put you on Nickelodeon and we're going to spray a fire hose right in your face. And you're going to do it. And you're going to be totally embarrassed. And then we're going to say, see, and we'll make you do it again next week if we want to.
Exactly. She was not prepared for that one, though. She did not get a heads up.
I don't think she would. I mean, again, that really was like a fire hose.
Dude, it hit her brains, man. It looked like it hurt bad, dude. I bet that stuff went all the way up her nostrils. It might have even pierced the brain blood barrier, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, what they did was not even really safe to put that much pressure into somebody's face. And yeah, and she was slipping around because obviously that stuff went everywhere because it was coming out so fast. She slips and falls. And yeah, like, of course, for kids, the kids don't know that was dangerous and stupid what they did to her.
No, they've got to play it off. They have.
Well,
they
thought it was
play
funny. Like I said, if you're a kid watching that, you would have just thought that was hilarious. But like an adult, you're like, dang, that's messed up. It's like they really wrecked Katy Perry right there.
That's insane, dude. I've never seen that. I'm not really a Katy Perry fan, so it's not that I delighted
I'm not a Katy
in her
Perry fan, but that was still messed up.
That was messed up.
Okay, I got one more video. I want to go all the way back. I should have played this earlier when I was showing the damn angels, right? And so they had all these Hollywood icons behind it, like the movie stars and scenes from movies. But what they also had was the Oscar statue. Or should I say, the Oscar idol. This is what it's all about. This is what they get if they are the top in their field in the movie business.
He said, man, have you seen the image of Bata? The image of Bata is exactly the same as the image of the Oscar. The Oscar is the highest award that is given by the National Academy of Artists and Craftsmen. All right? Ptah was the patron god of Menepher, the city of Memphis. He was the patron god of artists and craftsmen. All right? They didn't even bother to change the concept. They didn't even change the pose. Our images, our culture is everywhere. That's why they don't want you all reading this stuff. That's why they don't want you all coming to these lectures. That's why they don't want you all teaching this stuff in the classroom. Here is the eye of Heru, the son of God. The right eye of Heru, the eye of the falcon. The eye of the falcon is important because the falcon flies above the earth, has keen vision. Falcons are birds of prey which have over 1 billion vision cells in their eyes, in contrast to humans that have approximately 1.5 million vision cells. So falcons represent, like God, the ability to see everywhere instantaneously, keen insight. And so the eye of Heru was modified and used as the symbol for the logo for CBS. I just discovered this past summer that it was a brother at CBS who designed this logo and later quit after they refused to pay him for his creation. This symbol represents the lens of the camera, which, like the eye of Heru, the eye of God, has the ability to see everywhere instantaneously and to transmit that information in a matter of seconds. The same concept was incorporated into the logo for HBO.
It's always there.
It's everywhere. And like you were talking about earlier, people just don't ask questions. They don't ask enough questions. They don't really want to know.
Yeah, you'll never be able to convince me that's not what the Oscar statue is.
Yeah, that's absolutely it.
What's crazy is they don't even really try to hide it, and everyone says they don't try to hide it anymore. I don't think they ever tried to hide any of this. People
No,
just
there was another video I think I showed a while back. I mean, gosh, it might have been at the very beginning of this podcast, and it was talking about, I think it was Little Light Studios, and they were showing all the imagery from all the Oscar ceremonies where they have super clear like Freemasonry imagery, or they just straight up make the set look like Babylon. And well, there was it Colbert? Like he was the
straight up said it.
Oscars. Yeah, and he was straight up like, "Welcome to Babylon."
Exactly. Yeah, they've never really tried to hide it. I mean, it reminds me of my people perish for lack of knowledge situation. You know, most people just they don't know what to look for, or they're so caught up in, and that's the importance of like not being so busy minded. Like we just get so caught up in what we should be, where we should be, what we should be doing, getting our Starbucks coffee. I say our, but I'm not talking about myself. Obviously, I don't drink Starbucks coffee, but you know what I'm saying though. Like it's we get so caught up in doing all of these menial things that mean absolutely nothing that we don't ask any questions. And again, Starbucks, right? Like their logo, like they don't try to hide any of this stuff. It's right in everyone's faces.
Well, it's
Ronald McDonald.
hidden
It's everywhere.
It's hidden in plain sight.
Exactly.
That's the best place to hide stuff, because that's the stuff people don't even really know what occult means. Occult just means hidden, but they hide it like right in front of your face, so you don't think it's bad. Because why would it be? Because we have been naive for a long time. Most of us. I mean, like I'm talking about myself specifically, that I was naive to all this stuff. But yet, once you start to see it, it is absolutely everywhere. And I think that's the thing. It's like, so, because that's what it's funny. I posted that video about me and Aaron talking about how the one-eyed symbolism with all the celebrity, especially doing like the sixes over the one eye. And when I first woke up to that, I was so blown away, where I had this level of understanding of something I missed my whole life. But then almost there was a point where through that progression, I wanted to say, wait a minute, it can't be, because it's too many of them. It's every one of them. So it can't be that, because you almost want, like, I guess part of your brain wants to say that really can't be what it means. They can't really be giving out a Egyptian god idol at the Oscars. It can't be. It can be. And
Yeah,
as you
it
mentioned,
can be.
Starbucks has, the weird split-tailed
Two-tailed
mermaid. And when you
mermaid.
see where the genesis of that comes from, it's totally satanic and weird. And no, that can't really be what because obviously they got the modern version of it. It doesn't look like that. But you can see that it's still got the same it's got the same design. It's just been modernized. And you're like, it really can't be that. But then you find out, yes, it can, and it is. And it's everywhere. Yeah, that was the one that I didn't notice before, was the HBO one with the way the O looks like an eye.
Yeah.
It
It's like
reminds
Target.
me,
It's like Target. Is Target like
Exactly.
a bullseye, or is it an eye?
dude, it's everywhere.
Well, it's a bull's eye, bro. It is an eye.
But yeah, I guess it's true.
It's-
Yeah, a
Yeah,
bullseye.
the bull's eye. Like-
It's everywhere. But I mean, like, it's to your point, it's everywhere. You talking about the hidden knowledge?
Bull's eye. Yeah.
So unnecessary, bro.
Sorry. Anyways.
It's okay. I'll cut that out. Don't worry. But to your point, though, the hidden knowledge, it reminds me of when God asked Adam, "Who told you were naked?" It's like the layers of understanding. Like they didn't even know about what naked.
They didn't know
was.
what
They were
naked
just-
meant.
No, dude, they were just living their lives. And so it's like people are preyed upon because of their innocence. And so I truly believe, to a certain extent, because it is a matter of the heart, there's a lot of things I don't do anymore because I'm aware of these things. But I do feel like there is a certain, I don't know, there is a heavy weight that comes with knowing all of this stuff also, and being aware of it. Yeah, you can avoid things. Yeah, you can be more careful with this and that. But like Brian said, we've talked about this many times when it comes to music, because I've struggled with this when it comes to making music and doing different things. It's like, man, we have to be so careful, and I try to be as careful as I can be. But like he said, he's like, dude, it's in everything. It's in everything, in every single contraption, every single like mechanism that we could use these days to do anything. It's all demonically tied in some way, shape, or form. They've got their hands. The darkness has its tentacles interwoven in every single thing, and so it kind of pays to be ignorant to some of this stuff.
I do have one more video because I think that fits right into it, where a lot of people are waking up to this. And it is interesting. You brought up the story about the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve recognized that they were naked. So that's the thing. So the tree of knowledge did give them knowledge, but it was stuff that they really didn't need to know. So what it said is this will tell you the difference between good and evil. And like, so I mean, there's a balance now, because obviously the cat's out of the bag. Like, we do need to be discerning. We do need to be able to tell what's different between what is good and what's evil. That's what it says in Hebrews. It talks about like that's spiritual maturity, is being able to tell the difference. And it's also not just straight up debauchery and evil versus what's right. It's like it's what's right and what's almost right. So a lot of people become very cynical when they start to learn some of this stuff, and it's a black pill for lots of people. I've seen a few videos recently about this where people wake up and then they have a hard time interacting in society anymore. Like, they're not normal anymore.
Bro, it sucks. I hate it. I feel that way.
So people start to get a little bit like, where do I fit in? And hopefully you can fit in a place like this. Actually, you know, I do have a video for that. Check this out.
Oh, I actually don't have a lot of friends, because every time I want to talk about something that actually interests me, people think that I'm crazy. Maybe I am crazy, but to be crazy in a crazy world is to be normal. I don't have a lot of friends because I don't like to talk about Love Island and pop culture drama or something that Trump said to purposefully piss you off. I like to talk about history, philosophy, theology, occultism, symbolism, patterns, and Jesus. And I think a major portion of my generation has lost its depth. People don't have conversations with substance anymore. It's all just empty nonsense. It's not fulfilling in any way, shape, or form to me. No, I don't want to hear about your office drama because it doesn't mean anything, because I don't care. You know what I do want to talk about? I want to talk about the 30% of our US presidents being Freemasons. I want to talk about how George Washington himself was a master Mason and they worshipped him. That's what I want to talk about.
Did she say only 30%?
I think she meant the other way around. I think there's only 30% that hasn't been.
Yeah, I think it's way higher than 30%. That wasn't actually not the perfect video for that, but whatever.
No, but she did exemplify what you're talking about. She, like, I've always said to people, the hard part about waking up isn't necessarily processing all of the information. Like, that's stage number one. The hardest part is reintegrating into society amongst everyone that maybe doesn't know all of that information.
Right.
Because you are bored. Dude, you don't want to talk about the football game scores anymore. You don't want to talk about the
Knicks
stats.
or the World Cup, unless we're talking about aliens coming down.
You don't want to talk about anything that's right. You don't want to talk about anything that's being written in any paper or talked about on the news, unless it's to debunk it or to say, oh, well, I wonder what's really going on. But you can't even say that to most people.
See, that's why I'm... Well, wait, keep going.
No, I'm done. I've talked enough.
I was going to say, that's why I made the website Fisher of Friends, guys. Fisher of Friends. You make friends with... this is a commercial.
Is that why you made it, Brian?
Yeah, and it's like, literally, you can connect with all kinds of people in your area that are you know, in the same stuff, and connecting with friends that are all kinds of different conspiracies. I should just like have a conspiracy checkbox. You can be like, I was thinking about adding a flat earth checkbox, so you can be like, I'm a flat earther, and like all these other ones, but it'd be pretty cool.
Put 2 checkboxes, like force everybody to choose either I'm a normie or I'm a conspiracy theorist or a conspiracy truthist.
How's anybody going to find this website that's not already checking the one box?
You never know, man.
Conspiracy. Go to fisheroffriends.com if you're a conspiracy theorist and make friends. It pulls you off of the internet.
Well, again, I do think that there's a lot of people that are waking up. So I guess there is more of us now. But it really wasn't that long ago, again, in my journey, that it did feel very isolating. Like I had my brother to talk to, and that was pretty much it about this kind of stuff. But now, again, like even my buddy I went to the movies with, of course, now he knows. Like when I said, "What's up with the angels thing?" And he's like, "I know, that's crazy, right?" So he knows now. So there's a lot more people that do know, but yeah, there's a lot of people that probably do feel really isolated. And yeah, I guess it is. It's we talked about this on the Afterglow, I think, one episode of like, so now that you learn some of these things, like, what do you do with this information?
First episode.
And that really is the most important thing about it, is like that you can know something, but do you understand it? And you do know how to use that information for God's kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Not use this information for your own wealth and power and achievement, because obviously that would be like Gnosticism. That's like being a Gnostic, is using that power to elevate yourself. But I mean, for us, it's like I don't know, it's a balance of like, when I do see the symbolism, like, of course, my daughter is going to be annoyed when I ask about stuff like that. But like, you do kind of have to know your audience of like, when do you kind of share these little nuggets about, oh, you know what, that Oscar statue, you know where that comes from? Comes from the devil. Comes from ancient Egypt. It comes from Set worship with Aleister Crowley. Like, you can't just say that in a casual conversation unless it kind of, somebody gives you an opening to talk about it.
It's
I
crazy
say it all
though.
the time. Dude, I had a guy.
I know
come into
I know you do it regardless if anybody's ready to hear it.
Bro, I don't even care, dude. I had some client come into the store the other day, and I was like, I just started like, I had other friends I was talking to about conspiracy stuff, and I was like, hi, why don't you take a seat? And he's like coming in for like doing other stuff, and he's just like, okay. And I was like, welcome to my TED Talks, and I just talked to him for like an hour, like literally about conspiracies.
That is like symbolic.
So
That's
funny.
like a good allegory would be Katy Perry getting shot straight in the face with the fire hose. It's like Brian saying, sit down.
It's like, sit down.
Get comfortable. And then the fire hose comes out and you get sprayed right in the ear.
Bro, everybody loves it. The thing is, if they don't love it, they're going to look real uncomfortable. And I'm going to be like, oh, okay, that was a little too much. Okay, I guess I'll stop. Or you can leave, I guess.
Speaking to that, though, there are so many different layers of conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorists, because so many conspiracy theories have been mainstreamed. So like somebody will mention something that was like a conspiracy theory that we talked about 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So then you're like, oh, okay. So I get it. So now we can talk about the deeper things. So then you start talking to them about the deeper things, and then they start looking at you funny, and you're like, oh, I guess that was too deep for them, because they only know about the mainstream conspiracy theories. And then you've got like the ultra conspiracy theorists that give everyone a bad rap, that doesn't trust anybody, that thinks everything's a conspiracy theory. I've had people question why I use the colors that I use. And it's like, dude, one of the primary forms of music that I make when I write music is synthwave. Synth is from the 80s. And in the 80s, neon blue and pinks were all the rage. And they make me feel good. I like the way that the colors make me feel. And it's that simple. It's that simple. But like, you can take anything.
So you say.
Yeah, right. Right. We know you love Jesus and you're all for Jesus, but those colors, bro, we don't know about. But it's like, it can be taken way too far. And there's a lot of people in the community that take them way too far. And I think that, the Holy Spirit is the only thing that can really temper that stuff, because we can all get there really quickly.
I think it's about everything. This is kind of my whole worldview, is that God wants us to be well-rounded. Again, like you want to like, it's like every part of you, like, again, I always talk about your spirit, your mind, your body. God wants a good symmetry between the three. You want to obviously put the higher emphasis on the things that are lasting longer, like your spirit, then your mind, then your body third. But in the same way, it's like, we talked about, it was funny, we were talking about last week, I think we were talking about how, like, somebody who's really, really smart has the ability to take complex ideas and explain them in a easily understandable way. And like, to me, that's a great sign of intellect. So then you can take all these, especially, this is hopefully what we do on this podcast. We can take some very dark, esoteric topics and we can make them palatable and understandable. And we're not dwelling in the muck, hopefully. It's just like, it's kind of giving you a little bit, enough understanding to be able to spot it, to avoid it, and to explain it to other people about like why you don't participate in certain activities. I think that's where we need to be as a community. It's like that. Again, we are peculiar, right? That's what it talks about. We're a peculiar people, like we're kings and priests of God. Like we're going to be different, but we want to be different in a good way. We don't want to be just totally bizarre and weird, right? Can we try to do that in this audience and this podcast? I think that's
yes, please.
That's the goal. That's the goal, anyways. But anyways,
I'm for all the weird though. You can be weird.
Be
I'm okay
weird. Be weird, but we have to exemplify the love of Jesus in everything that we do. That's
be
what
lovingly weird. Lovingly weird.
Try to be all things to all people, and I think that's what I'm talking about. Is that you're not being fake, but like you got to know your audience. Like in this audience, we can obviously speak very freely about all these kind of things, but like when you're talking to people at the grocery store, be careful before you break your fire hose out, Brian. That's all I'm saying. Just be able, like, because a lot of times it's like you got to get your foot in the door first before you can give them the sales pitch about how the world is run by satanic pizza files.
My advice is listen to the Holy Spirit, and if you look at the person and they seem like they can take it, then walk up to him and go, "Hey, do you know who killed Charlie Kirk?" And then you're going to immediately make friends.
Okay,
do it all the time.
But if we're a little slower to that and we try to learn how to love people, I think that we'll be able to reach more people. Just my opinion.
Maybe.
Just my.
We'll talk later about strategy. But anyways, I think on that note, guys, we'll leave it there. You guys let us know in the comments what's your tactic. But anyways, guys, if you guys want to watch these episodes early and uncensored, please consider supporting this podcast over on Patreon. Also, check out the sponsor of this podcast, Modern Roots Life. Get yourself healthy, support this podcast and a great Christian-owned company. Win-win-win. Grab some merch if you need some. We got tank tops, hats, and T-shirts. And I might be getting that JT Files JC hat. I might be getting that trucker hat available. I'm going to guys stick around for that one. Also, if you guys are looking for social media coaching, check out the Echoes of Truth Network. You've got a message, you don't know how to say it, maybe we can help you do that. Regardless, guys, I just appreciate you guys watching, listening, however you guys find this content. Please give me a like, share, subscribe, 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Always love you guys. See you next time.
JT's mixtape, now a show about history, faith, and truth, with the sound and the conversation we've never heard before. JT's mixtape, now there's a podcast that has exactly what we've been looking for all of us who will not compromise. Listen, JT created mixtape for us. Woo!